What's up, creatives? My name is Mark Smith Jr. I'm going to be taking you on this mandatory training that you have to take and you can't skip. Isn't that fun? I'm leading it. I'm going to teach you how to use your words to the best of their ability. And we're going to be doing that through the communication accommodation theory. Let's jump right in. Let's actually get into it. Okay, so the C.A.T, or the communication accommodation theory, was originally known as the C.A.T, the speech accommodation theory. It was founded by Howard Giles in the 1970s, and it was used to describe how people's social groups and cultures influence the way they talk to people. The reason it was called the speech accommodation theory was because at the time, speech was the main form of communication. Think about it. It's the 70s. It's mostly face-to-face communication, telephone, radio, the occasional TV show or talk show. Everything was speech, and that's what's called the speech accommodation theory. Duh. However, as speech got more complicated, obviously that theory evolved with time. It grew to encompass a bunch of things that we now classify as communication. Think about it. The way the text on the McDonald's board is communication. An ad you watch, that's communication. Texting. I know, the ChatGPT, all of it is communication. It's all communication. It's everywhere now. We speak through words. All C.A.T does is expose the logic behind the decisions we make concerning our communications, right? So it's, if you're going to a friend group, why did you decide to use this word instead of that word? Why did you change your behavior from this or that? Why did you change a myriad of things? That's all covered in communication accommodation theory. At its core, the communication accommodation theory states that no one wants to be alone. Quite frankly, that's really the basis of it. The, I guess, more theoretical and scientific version of that is that people belong to social groups and their social groups can influence how they communicate. Now, that specific phrase I just said wasn't really in the 70s version. It came about actually when they revisited the theory in the 90s. But the premise is kind of timeless. Think of social groups as literally anything. It could be your marriage status. It could be your race, your age, your gender. Anything that can be a group is a social group. And these social groups make rules. They make social cues. They make in-jokes. They make certain phrases. And overall, they make a communication style. Now, that style is only made kind of to build a sense of stability, almost to define what that culture is. In this stability, they can then create a sense of the in-group and the out-group, right? If you know the social customs, you're in the in-group. If you don't, you're in the out-group. And these are exactly what they sound like. In-group, you're in. Think of your best friend group. Not everybody is in your best friend group. I hope to God they're not. Think of the out-group. People who are not your best friends, they are in the out-group. You talk to these people differently. And you expect different things from them because the cultures that they preside in are different. Now, this spans a bunch of things, but for this specific training video, we're going to focus on the word of the arts. We're going to focus on how this theory is applied to artists, because as artists, we're going to be responsible for using it a lot. For example, a common question asked in the creative arts is, why? Why did you do that? The question is annoying because it's assuming that there's always a deeper level to your work. In academia, asking that kind of question is often used as a launch pad to get the artist a way to explain the deeper meaning behind their work to add weight to it. But there's one problem, and that is, what if it has no deep meaning? What if I just made it because it looks cool? Then what? I don't know. Regardless if there's deep meaning in the work, the question is still posed to you. The question is still there, and the expected response to that question is a deep answer. Giving that deep answer is in many ways the difference between you getting the respect of your peers and being accepted into the fine arts circle and you not. Depending on how you answer that question, your career could change. It's kind of insane how much power that one small question has. So, with that in mind, how do you respond? For right now, for this intro course, I'm going to give you two examples that I think highlight this. These are real examples. I have done this before, not to this extent, but very similar. Ready? I'm going to set the scene. It's senior portfolio night. or it's a client pitch. It's just a big design gathering. You see one of the most esteemed artists in your field approaching you, right? They seem bored. They've been to many of these before. They come up, they look at your work, they love it, they ask you the question, why did you do that? This is your time. This is your time to sign. Here's what you hit them with. Ready? The reason for adding the distressed patterns over the piece was to help symbolize the often turbulent and chaotic experience that we call life. Life will always have its jagged edges, despite our best efforts to live life on the pristine edge that was taught to us. In adding these patterns, I question not only would such a pristine edge be possible, but rather, is it worth it to look for the edge at all? Deep, profound. They look at you, they nod, they leave. And then your best friend comes up and asks the same question. Why did you do that? And you know what you tell him? Because it looks cool. Because that's the answer. It looks cool. That's what it looks cool. That's why I did it. Isn't that crazy? It's because it looks cool. I like to make stuff that looks cool. It looks cool. That's it. All that stuff was hogwash. But you said it because you know you had to get in the in-group. And that's the communication accommodation theory at its finest. It's not acceptable to just say, because it looks cool to the artist, because they're an artist. They're not going to accept that answer. Some might, and in some ways that can oddly play in your favor if you're just that straightforward. But in many circumstances, it's just not. So you are stuck at a crossroads. Do you kind of make up a deeper level to get in the in-group? Do you copy their verbiage to get into the in-group? Or do you be truthful to yourself like you are with your friend and you just say, it's cool, and by doing so, you kind of put yourself at a disadvantage and at risk of being in the out-group. This is the communication accommodation theory. Just plain and simple. No matter what we do, we always come back to that central point that Giles is trying to tell us. It's that as people, we are in social communities, and those communities influence how we communicate. And we want to be in the in-group. A lot of us, we need to be in the in-group to succeed in our careers. So we'll do whatever it takes to get there. Whether that means accommodating all the time, whether that means doing a 360 in how we talk, we want to be in the in-group. Because to be in the out-group is to not be in the in-group. Is to be in the out-group alone. And nobody wants to be alone.